Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Eyewitness News. I'm Sky Crabtree.
And I'm Luke Baima. Let's start with the latest news coming out of New York City.
Well, President Trump addressed the 80th United Nations General Assembly earlier today. Many of his remarks targeted towards a multitude of different topics. We have our reporter here in the studio with us with some more information. Matt, we got word that President Trump had some choice words for European nations. Could you tell us about that?
That we did. We actually have a bit of what he said right here.
If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail.
So basically what the president was trying to say with that statement was that European nations were prioritizing their, political correctness over the needs of their own citizens. He gave some specific examples, including Germany and the UK, citing statistics that they have more foreign nationals in their prisons rather than nationals of their own countries. So, yeah.
I'm sure he had a lot to say about climate change as well. Do you have any more to speak about that?
Absolutely. There was definitely a lot to say on climate change. For example, he called windmills pathetic and issued a stark warning to the rest of the assembly, which we have a bit of here.
Of open borders, you have to end it now. Let's see, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
In addition to this warning, President Trump also claimed that the carbon footprint was a hoax, and he called green energy and renewables in general just too expensive to maintain. He went completely against what Secretary General Antonio Guterres said in his opening statement, where he was strongly in support of the UN supporting measures to decrease climate change.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine that Gaza and Israel were a key topic in this assembly. Is that right?
Absolutely, Luke. President Trump did fail to mention the thousands of lives lost during the conflict with Israel, but what he did say was that the recognition of a Palestinian state would be more of a reward to Hamas rather than getting any sort of progress done in terms of peace talks. It was a bit of a subtle jab at European nations who have already committed to that statement, such as France and the UK, and he demanded additionally that Hamas release its hostages and that they're sent home to Israel. In addition to that, on the topic of world conflicts, Ukraine and Russia were obviously on the cards in terms of conversation. President Trump's main point with the Russia-Ukraine war was that nations need to cut off their supply of Russian oil in order to stop the war. He briefly mentioned his own efforts to bring the war to an end, but he restated that his intent was to place another round of sanctions on Russia if they were to continue the war.
It's certainly an eventful assembly, I'd say for sure. Thank you, Matt, for joining us.
Absolutely, no problem.
And tens of thousands of people gathered in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday to pay their respects to the right-wing activist Charlie Kirk, who was shot and killed during an event at Utah Valley University earlier this month. The speakers included President Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and several Republican officials. During an emotional tribute in the event, Kirk's widow Erica Kirk took the stage for a heartwarming speech about Christianity, love, and forgiveness, and she vowed to carry out her husband's mission.
The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. I forgive him.
Moments later, President Donald Trump took the stage, though he delivered a remarkably different tone.
That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. He's a martyr now for American freedom. The gun was pointed at him, but the bullet was aimed at all of us.
Now, Kirk played a major role in influencing the American youth to vote for Trump and Vance by debating college students on campuses across America. President Trump again said he plans to award Kirk the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
We may be seeing an end to the fight over TikTok ownership this week. President Donald Trump is expected to sign a proposed deal to ensure that American investors hold the majority ownership of the popular social media platform. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said during a press conference that TikTok will remain in business with 80% U.S.-based venture capital firms, private equity funds, and tech companies.
Great news, not just for the millions of American youth who use TikTok. Their data will be safe and secure with this new deal. They'll continue to use this very fun app. But it's also great news for all of the small business owners who have really been able to make a living off of the use of TikTok as well.
The crucial aspect of the deal involves the tech company Oracle providing the app security and operating an algorithm outside the Chinese tech company's control. While the officials say the foreign influence will be removed, the platform will still connect TikTok users around the world. To distract us from the madhouse that is American politics, let's go to Cassandra to hear about this week's upcoming weather.
Hey Seawolves, I'm student meteorologist Cassandra Fasthag, and here is your weekly forecast. Well, yesterday was the official start of fall. However, we're still holding on to some summer temperatures, with our high reaching up to 79 degrees today and our low at 66, with mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, some clouds start to roll in, as well as possible rain showers later in the day, with our high at 76 and our low at 65. Most of the rain will be on Thursday, with a high of 74 and a low of 64. However, things on Friday start to heat up, with our high reaching back into the upper 70s at 78 degrees and a low of 63 degrees, with partly cloudy skies. There'll be possible rain showers Friday and on Saturday evening, but rest of the week is looking nice, with mostly sunny skies in the mid to upper 70s and our low reaching down to 50s later in the week. That's all for weather. Back to you at the desk.
And now we go over to our White House correspondent, Miles Reese, who's been following recent developments from Washington very closely.
In today's debrief, we have new information regarding the FCC pressuring Disney to suspend Jimmy Kimmel Live show. As of now, the Jimmy Kimmel Live show will return to ABC after the network announced that the show's indefinite suspension would be happening last Wednesday. The announcement came in wake of comments that Jimmy Kimmel made regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk. FCC Chair Brendan Carr threatened regulatory action over Kimmel's comments and even took to social media to celebrate the show's suspension with President Trump. ABC's parent company Disney received backlash amidst public support for Jimmy Kimmel and the First Amendment. Disney released a statement yesterday announcing that after days of thoughtful conversations with Kimmel, the show is scheduled to return to the air tonight on ABC. We also have breaking news coming out of Fort Pierce, Florida today. Ryan Ruth, the man brought up on charges for attempting to assassinate President Trump, has been found guilty. Ruth is to be sentenced on December 18th and could possibly face life in prison. We'll update you more on this as we receive more details.
Up next is our show's installment of Chris on the Street with our very own Christopher Yang spreading words of wisdom to our underclassmen. Let's check it out.
Hello Seawolves! Welcome to a new semester, which means another edition of Chris on the Street. My name is Christopher Yang.
My name is Connor Yiki.
We will be interviewing students about how they feel about the upcoming semester, as well as tips and advice for the incoming freshman class. All right, 2 weeks into the semester, how you feeling? Are you excited?
I mean, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun already. I kind of miss seeing everybody, so I'm just seeing all my friends and just getting back into the groove of school and everything.
Adapting pretty good, I'm getting into the swing of it, going to class every day. Once you stop going to class, that's where you fall into that trap of not going back.
This semester is probably one of the chillest semesters so far. I've taken a nap almost every single day, except Mondays and Tuesdays.
Pretty okay so far. I will probably end up falling behind at some point, but for now I'm doing okay.
What's it like having all these students back at school?
It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of good customers and people keep coming back for some reason.
What is your biggest culture shock coming into your freshman year of college?
These teachers aren't going to hold your hand, but some do.
Coming in as like a freshman, I just remember it was just an odd experience to just see so many people just around and not knowing like a singular person. It was kind of the issue of the bit of just trying to find where I belonged in all of this. I was very kind of confused, overwhelmed. I was like, there's so many things, there's so many people. I don't know anybody except my roommate who you're randomly assigned with. So it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do with myself?
For me, specifically, my high school was really small. I'd say it was K through 12 and there was 300 kids. So coming here, the biggest culture shock was the amount of people.
Probably managing finances and just seeing just how many things we pay for, but also the types of things that we're able to get on campus, like printing quotas, bus fares, stuff like that.
So then on that note, in order to have the best college experience, do you have any piece of advice for freshmen coming in?
If you're finding yourself not having a lot of connections, just go out there and make those connections, because you never know the kind of people that you're going to meet.
Take advantage of all those things that I listed, like printing quotas, just print any notes that you have, take the buses if you don't feel like walking places, just like explore campus. There's so many things that like a lot of people don't know about because they don't go out and, you know, look at buildings.
I just wish I had more of a plan when I was in college. So if you have a passion or you have something that you're interested in, it's really important for you to establish that and have a plan of action, because it took me 10 years to get to this point, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I just wish I planned more. But everyone has their own path, and it just kind of worked out. So we're very lucky to be here.
A lot of advice for the incoming freshmen. This has been Chris on the Street. My name is Christopher Yang.
My name is Connor Yiki.
Back to you guys at the desk.
For the latest in entertainment, here's Ava Shea with your Media Minute.
Thank you, Luke. For today's Media Minute, I want to dedicate this segment to Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the incredible impact of Hispanic voices in entertainment. So let's jump right in. American Girl just revealed its 2026 Girl of the Year, Raquel Reyes, a 10-year-old Mexican-American from Kansas City. She was revealed on September 17th, right at the beginning of Hispanic Heritage Month. What makes Raquel so special is her lineage to Samantha Parkington, one of the brand's original dolls. Scholar Dr. Diana Leon Boyes says this is huge representation, explaining that placing Raquel alongside Samantha shows Latina girls they belong at the heart of American stories across time. Her character isn't stuck in stereotypes either. She DJs, makes paletas, and plays pickleball, showing how Latina identity is part of everyday American life. It's a big step for children's media and one that's already sparking excitement. Now from toys to tunes, let's talk about the superstar who's been putting Puerto Rico front and center all year. Bad Bunny just wrapped up his record-breaking residency in Puerto Rico with his 30th and final show in San Juan. The finale was streamed worldwide for the first time ever, bringing Puerto Rico's energy to fans everywhere. The night was filled with star-studded surprises like Marc Anthony joining him on stage singing Preciosa, a patriotic song honoring Puerto Rico's history. It was a huge celebration of Puerto Rican pride, especially with the concert landing on the 8th anniversary of Hurricane Maria. Bad Bunny is now gearing up to take his Debí Tirar Más Fotos album on a massive world tour this fall. And as if that wasn't enough, he's also coming back to Saturday Night Live. Bad Bunny will be the host of the season 51 premiere with Doja Cat as the musical guest on October 4th. This will be his second time hosting, and after his hilarious sketches last season, fans can't wait to see what he does next. Now, if you're looking for something to check out in person this month, the Smithsonian just debuted an exhibit called Corazón y Vida, Lowriding Culture, which is set to open on the 26th, celebrating 80 years of a Mexican-American and Chicano lowrider history. The exhibit features murals, photographs, and two iconic cars, El Rey and Gypsy Rose, which is the 1964 Chevy covered in roses that put lowriding culture into pop culture history. Beyond the cars, the exhibit tells the story of how lowriding became a symbol of pride and community during times of discrimination, and how it continues to influence culture worldwide today. This colorful and bilingual exhibit is one of the coolest ways to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And that's all from me for your Media Minute. Gracias por vernos. And now let's head over to Tommy Pardo with a look at what's happening in sports.
Thanks, Ava. The New York Jets look to pick up their first win of the season as they travel to Raymond James Stadium to battle the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Jets got so close yet remained so far from a win as the Buccaneers survived a late New York surge in the 29-27 nail-biter Sunday afternoon. Tyrod Taylor filled in for the concussed Justin Fields at quarterback and struggled for most of the game, throwing a pick six in the first half. But two passing touchdowns by Taylor with over 10 to go in the fourth quarter, followed by a blocked field goal return to the house, gave Gang Green an edge in the last 2 minutes. However, Tampa QB Baker Mayfield led yet another game-winning drive, punctuated by kicker Chase McLaughlin's fifth field goal of the day in the closing seconds. The win gives the Bucs their first 3-0 start in 20 years, and the Jets are winless in their first three contests for the first time since 2021. For the New York Giants, they host the Kansas City Chiefs at MetLife Stadium on Sunday afternoon, on Sunday Night Football, as both teams look to earn their first wins of the season. With the exception of a Cam Scatterboo rushing touchdown late in the first half, Big Blue's offense struggled for most of the night as they dropped to 0-3. The game was sealed by a Kareem Hunt rushing touchdown with 6 to go in the fourth quarter, extending Kansas City's lead to 22-9. The Giants, who have started 0-3 for the first time since the 2021 season, prepare for a tough stretch starting with this Sunday against the 3-0 Los Angeles Chargers in the Meadowlands. From the gridiron to the diamond, there were a handful of home run milestones over the weekend. On Saturday night, Los Angeles Angels outfielder Mike Trout hit the 400th home run of his career, making him the 59th player in MLB history to reach the milestone. The three-time American League MVP is just the 20th player in history to hit all 400 home runs with one franchise. Another milestone home run was hit that night as Seattle Mariners switch-hitting catcher Cal Raleigh hit his 57th home run this season, surpassing Mariners legend and Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. for the most homers in a single season in franchise history. Additionally, Philadelphia Phillies outfielder Nick Castellanos and New York Yankees designated hitter Giancarlo Stanton hit their 250th and 450th home runs of their careers, respectively. That's it for this week's sports roundup. Let's send it back to the desk.
It seems like a rough start for football in New York, wouldn't you say?
I would say so, but hopefully the teams can pick it up before the end of the season. Now, switching gears, it's just about hurricane season in America. For an in-depth look, let's hear from one of our student meteorologists, Jake Serace, to see if there are any big storms brewing. Jake?
Hey Stony Brook, I'm student meteorologist Jake Serace. It has been a quiet past few weeks in regards to severe tropical weather, but over the last handful of days, the Atlantic Ocean has become to come alive once again. Let's look at the National Hurricane Center's 7-day tropical weather outlook. As of Monday, September 22nd, Hurricane Gabrielle is making its way through the Atlantic with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, classifying it as a Category 3. Advisories on Gabrielle have been issued since it is creating swells that will affect the Bermuda and east coast of the United States over the next few days, creating life-threatening rip current conditions. Additionally, these regions shaded in red and orange are called disturbances, which are areas of showers and thunderstorms that have potential to become tropical storms through the next 7 days. The disturbance in red has an 80% chance, and the disturbance in orange has a 50% chance. If we look at satellite imagery of the Atlantic, you can see these two X's which signify the areas that the National Hurricane Center is watching. This time of year, it is vital to keep up to date with the weather and stay on the lookout for alerts issued by your local National Weather Service office. Back to you at the desk.
And that will do it for this week's show. I'm Luke Bima.
And I'm Sky Crabtree. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.